Good day everyone. This is an Appella travel clock. It's quite a small one. With the case, it's about 6 by 6 centimeters. I think the clock itself is just over 5 centimeters. Just one wound and it started to tick. There's the alarm button that pops out when the clock is wound. It had some falls and so on. By the way, they claim that it is shock-proof, written on the back. One button is missing for the alarm adjustment, but I think the time adjustment button can just be swapped around with the alarm one. And there's also an adjustment for the regulator. So I got this one for bargain price. The mainspring was broken, but the movement was absolutely fine. Looks in fact that it was serviced or not. Well, it must have been used a lot because the mainspring was broken. The mainspring didn't jump off, it was simply broken. Let me demonstrate. So when I opened the drum, the mainspring housing, this is what I could see. As you can see, the outer part broke loose from the inner part, or the inner part from the outer part, due to metal fatigue. So I basically mended it with wire, just a piece of wire. And to do that, I grinded two holes, and one in the outer part and one in the inner part. I didn't drill it because the drill bit would just jump around, and even if I started the hole with a nail or so, it would still, the drill bit would still just climb out of the indent. So I used my Dremel with this bit. It's a grinding bit, you can see it's quite sharp at the tip. And I just started at an angle. Let's take the outer part, the mainspring. And I just grounded there from an angle and with a block of wood or plank below. And it took about maybe 10 minutes of patience. Okay, don't want it to take 10 minutes now. This is paper indeed. Okay, that's that old. And I did the same with the inner part. Actually, I broke some parts. You just bend it and it breaks off. This spring metal will just break if it bends too much, too far. And then I used this single core, exactly this type of single core electric wire. And it was easy to maneuver the spring. You could just unroll it a bit, keep the spiral part at bay. And then you just insert this wire through and bend it close like this. Now the wire was much shorter than this. I could have cut it afterwards, but I used some soldering. I soldered it there, not to solder it onto the spring steel because it wouldn't attach to the steel. The soldering just attached to the wire itself, just to create a head so that the wire doesn't slip through the hole. And then I just wound the mainspring. Started from the outer part of the spiral, inserted, and you don't have to latch this part onto the notch. It will latch itself. Actually, I thought it would be great if it doesn't latch ever at all, so then the mainspring couldn't be overwound. It will just slip like an automatic wash. And then I just fed it into the drum. Sorry, it's the wrong way around. Anyway, that just fed it into the drum with that mended part, the wire. Now, the first time the mainspring slipped again, the wire slipped. I think it was before I used the soldering part, and the second time I used a longer wire so that the wire would get compressed when the spring is wound. And there we have it. It's ticking. I will not give it more than a few winds. Still working well. I mean, I will not give it more than a few turns at a time. It was wound quite a few times for several use. And thanks for watching. Maybe you can hear it tick.